Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys 1/6 scale custom mod review. Now today we are taking a look at a very special modification to the Mark 85. I teased this on a recent live stream and I had a ton of questions as to how this works. Now, Toys Wonderland has partnered up with a company called Morgan's Workshop, and they're collaborating to make something truly unique. This isn't just any old Mark 85. You can probably already tell that by the fact that the lightning refocuser is lit up. This is a top to bottom LED overhaul. Now I will be going through the various questions that I had as to this service when they sent me the prototype, and hopefully that answers your questions as well. I will pop the relevant links down in the description below to head over to toyswonderland.com, because there are multiple different options when it comes to this service. You can send in your own figure, or you can purchase one that's already been modified. We will go much more in depth on how to make this happen a little bit later in the video, but once again, links are in the description below. Now if you're sitting there thinking, okay Justin, it's all well and good showing us what this guy looks like with your studio lights turned on, I want to see what he looks like in complete darkness, because of course that's the best way to showcase these LEDs. They are super bright. In the video, they will appear a little bit darker just because of the overhead LEDs I have pointing down on him, so you can actually see the figure and me interacting with him, but in person, in hand, they look awesome. It's a super bright, powerful LED system. In fact, I'm pretty sure this is the brightest Iron Man figure in my collection, so if you do have him in your display fully lit up, this guy is absolutely going to stand out. What we are going to do now though is take him off the rotating turntable, punch in and take a closer look at the LEDs. Here we have him up close and personal, and at first glance this looks like any other Mark 85, but there are a few things which we need to discuss. Now for the longest time when it comes to Iron Man figures, the way to light these guys up has been to open up every single little battery compartment, install those teeny tiny button cell batteries, flick a bunch of switches, admire the lights for all of 2 minutes, until they inevitably die. But now, Toys Wonderland is offering something that I don't think I've ever seen before. If you touch the chest area, the entire figure lights up. The legs, the torso, even the hands, plus the lightning refocuser if it is attached to his back. But the cool thing is, if you do remove the lightning refocuser, it's actually powered on its own. It has its own touch sensor, so you can turn it on and off. So this has been completely customized. You can see a few pins on the various posts, plus this little section right here. Now because this has its own independent battery, you do have its own independent charging cable. Now you can simply connect it up and charge this piece up, but most of the time I know I will probably have this connected to his back. But if you don't, just like the lightning refocuser, the Mark 85 himself has an integrated power system. Now, the way you charge this guy up is relatively straightforward. Now, Morgan's Workshop does do a complete overhaul on the lighting system. That means there are now wires that run throughout the entire figure. Now, these are meant for charging. The red point, which you simply plug in via USB, and use your regular own smartphone power bank, you can then plug it in. The red one keeps it fully powered and wired all the time, whereas the black cable is used for charging the internal battery. With 2 hours of plug-in time, you do get 22 hours of LED functionality. Now, if you aren't a fan of seeing these cables dangling out the side just like I'm not, you can simply tuck them into the leg area because most of the articulation is still retained, meaning you have the full functionality of all of the joints, forward and back, even the drop-down mechanism. The only real limitations, because that was a question for me, is in the arms. They cannot rotate all the way around because there are wires running through the inside. But all of that work that's gone into this figure means that you very simply tap the chest and it lights up. Now, one of the questions I had was, well, what if you want to replace the head sculpt, because very clearly there are wires running through this helmet. Well, you can detach the helmet and there is a cable coming off the front of it. You then remove the collar section, which is no easy feat to do. It's magnetized in place, but when you take it out, as you can see, there is a connector that pegs in to the back. So then you can simply take this piece off, tuck the cable away, replace the collar, and pop on your Tony sculpt. But to save trying to put the helmet back on camera, here of course we have the helmet reinstalled. Now another question I had was, well, what about the gauntlet? Because that was a pretty core feature of the Mark 85, the clean and battle damage version. You can simply remove the forearm in the exact same way as the stock figure, then pop on the gauntlet arm. The LEDs are controlled by the same single capacitive button on the chest there, so they do light up perfectly. You can also see how bright the LEDs are in the hand now. I previously couldn't even really tell the time stone was lit up, but now that the modification has been done, everything looks way brighter. Now you can also plug in different hands in the very same way as the stock figure. I was worried that there were going to be some modifications to the way the hands worked, but it's the very same ball joint mechanism, so you can swap the hands just as easily as on the stock Mark 85. As you can see, no modifications were done to the hands themselves. That was definitely something that I was worried about, because you don't want to sacrifice a bunch of things that the stock figure could technically do. Now, the coolest part for me is that when you bring in the lightning refocuser and peg it onto his back, the power system is now unified. Those pins that I mentioned earlier, when you touch the chest, the lightning refocuser and all of the other LEDs do operate together. That blew my mind when I saw it for the first time, and to be honest, it still technically does. Now this is a pretty short and sweet video. There isn't a ton to talk about here, but I did want to showcase one of the most badass custom things that I've seen in a while, and I'm super glad that Toys Wonderland is going to try to make this as easy and accessible as possible. Just wrapping up on the custom LED lighting system for the Mark 85 and other armors as well. Stay tuned for more info on that by Toys Wonderland and Morgan's Workshop. Now, initially, I wasn't sure if this was going to be something that I would appreciate. I love LEDs, don't get me wrong, they add a ton of life to your Iron Man figures, but all of the solutions that I've seen to date have been a little bit finicky. You have to install these faux batteries in all of these compartments and have wires running anywhere, and technically you can do that with this guy. You can plug him in with the red wire and have him powered permanently, and it should be relatively straightforward to hide just that one wire. But the cool thing is, you don't have to. You can charge it up, and you do get, as I said earlier in the video, 22 hours of continuous use with the LEDs, with 2 hours of charging. Now, apparently the batteries can be charged 8,000 times. I'm not exactly sure what happens after that. I will have to inquire and let you know. Now, if you're sitting there wondering how on earth can I actually make this happen, you have two options, like I said in the intro. You can purchase the customization service by sending in your Mark 85, you'll be placing the order on Toys Wonderland, and you will be responsible for shipping both to and from them. They will send you an email with all of the relevant information, and that should be in your inbox within 2 days of placing that order. You also have to make sure to ship your Mark 85 to them before the 20th of February this year. There are a limited number of spots just due to how long the customization process actually takes. They're estimated to be completed by Morgan's workshop in May this year, so it's not a massive wait. Also, they will send you a video of your figure fully customized and working before you get it sent back to you. The other option, of course, is to place the order, and during the checkout you can select the LED version, etc., and then the same process will ensue. They'll send it to Morgan's workshop, they'll do the customization, they'll send you the video of your figure. It's all pretty straightforward. There will be the links down in the description below. But I am curious, is this modification something that y'all are interested in? I, for one, wasn't expecting to be as enamored with this as I am now. It is so fun to literally just tap the chest of Iron Man and all of the LEDs come to life. I am hoping that they will offer this service on other Iron Man figures, because I know of a few that would look awesome with this feature. As I said, do let me know what you think down below. While you are down in the description, check out the link to toyswonderland.com for one, and also 6 Scale Network, the Facebook group. Come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection, and of course, see what's coming up next on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.